Hi, I'm Mara Lathrop, and welcome to the 13th Annual Port Townsend Film Festival, Interviews at Undertown. I'm here today with Nina Milton, who is a student at Chimacum High School, and we are here to interview Tristan Stock, who is a graduate of Chimacum High School, about his short film Compassion Connects. So first, let's hear. Welcome back to Port Townsend,
Hey,
Tristan.
thank you.
How's your festival going?
Pretty good. It's like I'm from here originally, so whenever I come up for the festival, I kind of balance it between seeing films and visiting friends. So kind of just running back and forth between the festival to go hanging out with somebody I haven't seen in a while, and just sort of a lot of commuting across the county.
It sounds pretty good.
Yeah, it's not bad actually.
Yeah, a fun-filled weekend, right?
Yeah, definitely. I'm gonna need to sleep a lot when I get home.
How you've been to other film festivals by now?
Yeah.
So, from a Port Townsend point of view, how are we different?
Well, I can say the one big difference is Jeanette Forrest is just way organized.
Yeah, she really is, isn't she?
I think this festival just is on their game. They're like this on point. They know what's going on. They have all their. Usually, when I saw a couple of the other film festivals I've been to, it's kind of just been running around and not really knowing what's the next thing to do. But here, it's super clear. It's super organized, and you guys have a great selection of films.
That's great. I'm gonna turn this interview over to Nina for a little bit, and Nina, take it away.
Hey, what kind of special connections did you have with the people in Nepal?
Well, it was funny. I had like zero connection starting the project out. I was actually when it was a job posting online. They were looking for like, a videographer to go to Nepal. I'm like, okay, well, that sounds.
Sign me up.
Yes. How do I get this job? So there was an application process I went through there. I had to meet the acupuncturists who were part of the organization, and then also I had to make a short little video to sort of interviewed one of the acupuncturists, and
So you really had to audition for the job.
had to audition for the job. I basically had to make a film to make this film. So, anyway, they liked the little short I made, and I got the job. And then I was kind of like, well, I guess I'm going to Nepal in 6 months. Let's see what happens next. But really, once I got to Nepal and once I was actually living in the village of Chapagan, and just working with the interpreters and just seeing the same patients day in and day out, yeah, definitely made a connection.
Did you get really close with some of the people there?
Oh yeah, just such good guys. The interpreters especially. I mean, well, because they know that we had a common language we could share, and the interpreters were just incredible. Their English is so good, and they speak 5 additional languages.
Did you have a time where you went up to somebody and it wasn't an interpreter, but they spoke to you and you had no clue what they were saying?
Oh man, all the time, because it sort of in the region we were in. There's Nepali, which is the main language in Nepal, and then there's other languages as well. There's like Newari and Tamang and all sorts of just random languages. So even with my little Nepali translation guide, there was no guarantee that was going to work, because I'd be in a village that nobody there even spoke the national language. So you really had to work entirely with just nods and sort of hand motions.
What did you have to do for your preparation before in that 6 months before you got over to Nepal? What was your preparation?
My preparation, I figured out sort of I did a lot of research into filming movies while out in the field, and sort of took a photojournalism approach to it. Followed a lot of blogs really, and it's these are there was a blog I followed by a guy who was a news reporter in Afghanistan, and he just would go into super detail about the equipment and gear he used. So that was sort of the prep I did, was just researching what people who were doing this line of work usually do.
And when you got to Nepal, was everything as you expected? What were the things that surprised you enormously?
Well, I mean, you read everywhere about Nepal and about that region of the world, just about how kind people are, and just about how decent, just what decent people these are. And usually when you go into any sort of travel scenario, you always have a little bit of trepidation. You're worried that you're going to get mugged, or something bad's going to happen, or you're going to have all these just terrible experiences, and you got to be on your toes. But in Nepal, it was shocking. I never felt unsafe, because of I always felt welcomed. And I know that obviously there's a huge Buddhist influence there, and it really just permeates the country, because beautiful.
What kind of challenges did you come face to face with while you were filming?
Mostly just, I think the big challenges would have been the lack of infrastructure in Nepal. There's like never any roads in some of the villages we had to go to, so it was all on motorcycle. So we had to, I had to take all my gear and like had to balance it on the back of a motorcycle. And so transportation was the biggest challenge. And then there was the biggest challenge filming around the clinic. Like my biggest enemy was this monkey who, this monkey would always be stealing from our kitchen. It'd be like coming into the window and taking our food. And it also just had no fear at all. And they're very vicious, which is how to surprise me to learn. So I was always, whenever I'd want to begin the shot of like, oh, here's this beautiful sunrise shot of the monastery, let me go film that, and then this monkey would just show up and just like start baring his teeth at me, and I'm like, okay, I guess I'm not getting the shot.
Did you have to fight with the monkey while you were filming?
Um,
Was it scary?
No, I mean, I definitely didn't fight with it. Like, I'm like, whatever he wanted, like, I would do. So it was, not really, he was just, the couple times that I interacted with him, it was just him stealing food and eating
So,
it.
and the film is how long?
The film is 28 minutes long.
And how many hours of film did you have to shoot to get that?
About 70 to 80. So I'm not, because I shot a lot of time lapse. I didn't do the full count because I shot a lot of time lapses as
Right.
well. So I was trying to figure out. I just sort of looked at the data size and did a rough calculation. So it's between 70 and 80 hours of footage, but a lot to go through.
What did you love most about making this movie?
Oh,
And why?
I think what you asked earlier about the people. I think that was the coolest part about it. Is really. No, I went there to go make a movie about this connection between the practitioners in this clinic and the patients there in the village, and really on my own. And then I made a connection with everybody as I was doing it. So it was, the people definitely was the best part.
What did you learn when you were in Nepal?
Oh man, too much. I don't know. I don't know what my biggest takeaway from Nepal is. I would say that I just got a much deeper appreciation of this. What really sort of gave me some perspective on what really matters in life. And I still have these moments now. I mean, it's weird. Coming back from Nepal, it's been almost a year, and I was in a place where there was not any real clean running water. Like there would be rolling blackouts. There was no real roads, or there was this extreme poverty these people lived in. And yet everybody was just incredibly happy, and were able to find happiness in what we would consider just like almost unlivable conditions sometimes. And then when I have this moment where I'm like just mad that my Wi-Fi at my house is kind of like bugging out, it allows me to sort of step back and go, wait a minute, like in the big scheme of things, my Wi-Fi being a little slow isn't actually that big of a deal. So that perspective, I think, is what I took away.
How did Making Compassion Connects change your approach to filmmaking?
Oh man, I think sort of when you go into filmmaking, you want to be a film student especially. You think of yourself as like this creator, this artist that you're gonna go out and you're gonna control and manipulate and make a movie. But in documentary, that's really not the case. You're not a creator, you're not a manipulator, you're not a mastermind. Really, all you have to do is listen and just be there. Like know when it's time to be a fly on the wall, and then know when it's time to interact with your subject, because there's a
Right.
time for both. So that was what I learned from that experience.
And how do you think you're going to apply it next?
That's a really good question. I have some couple other projects I'm going to be working on with friends here in the future, which are also documentary projects. And I think there's a lot of the skills that I don't even think skills is the right word for it. Just a lot of the just basic facts of interacting with other people, and I think it's changed the way I interview people. It's changed the way that I build a rapport with the people who I'm going to be filming.
Do you think that sort of like being immersed in a Buddhist culture, it changed your perception of just some real basic things like time and the shape of reality?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a terrible question, but, you know,
It's
I
definitely.
really want to know how, I mean, it's an amazing experience to go to such a different place, to be really exposed to your own culture shock, and to come out on the other side of that. I mean, that's what I really want to know about.
Yeah, it's a. It was it's a total. It seemed like a dream. I mean, going to some place that is that 180 from
here.
from here,
Yeah.
and spending an extended amount of time there. And during the time there, it seemed time is, it's a month. I spent a month there living in this monastery, and living with these people, and then in under 24 hours, I'm back in Portland, Oregon, and I'm sleeping in my room, and it almost felt like it was a second, like that entire trip had happened.
Just as a dream, and you woke up in the morning?
Just as a dream, and I woke up in the morning, and I think that that whole the whole fact that it was at a Buddhist monastery, and I interacted with monks on a daily basis, and not necessarily even the monks, but just the people of Nepal, who have a very great, I hesitate to say worldview, almost like universal view. Definitely, it was like it's like a dream that I really learned. It's like a dream that had a very profound message that I woke up from, and I'm still trying to make sense of it to this day.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
After you've made this film, what are your goals now?
My goal right now is I'm definitely living off a lot of top ramen and rice, so trying to make money while doing filmmaking, and I do a lot. It's really right now a friend and myself are trying to start a production company and really try and make films like similar to Compassion Connect, maybe on a shorter length sometimes.
So what's the attraction of documentary short?
I think it's definitely the honesty of it. It's really, especially it's also.
No, don't go on from that. That was a great comment.
Yeah.
It's the Odyssey.
Yeah.
Talk about that some more.
Yeah. Well, it's just it really filming documentaries just really give you a chance to know people, and I mean and honestly, there's not really anything cooler on the planet Earth than other people. And when you get when you really just get that gift to interact with people who are doing something way different than what you're doing, or who are champion a cause, or they're doing or are they just you already filming a documentary really gives you an opportunity to know a subject, and I think in a much more rapid pace than you would just sort of casually encountering this person. If that's like even I think some of the people that I filmed in Compassion Connects, I learned a lot about them, and this really got sort of deep into their psyche, and they learned a lot about me, and we really connected on a much more rapid scale than if we would have just been hanging out as friends for a year or so.
Yeah.
And it's a different kind of connection, obviously, but I don't know, I just enjoy it. It's getting to meet these people and learn about them and learn about myself in the process.
What are your goals for Compassion Connects? Who do you want to have see it now? Where do you want it to show? How do you want the world to take it?
Well, it's funny. Compassion Connects was actually designed with the audience being acupuncturists, and
Okay.
that's really who we want. That's really who Andrew Slabach, the founder of the organization.
Have you had an opportunity to watch this with an audience of acupuncturists?
I haven't. I really would love to.
Wouldn't that be? I can't imagine that they would see it the same way a general audience would at all.
No, and this it's wonderful because it really. I've talked to acupuncturists who've seen it, and who have come to some of the screenings. And there's an acupuncturist there, and the film really offers them just a new perspective to look at their work and really their calling in life and why they do what they do. Because they're medical practitioners, and I think just like when any job which you do every day, you can maybe get bogged down in the minutia of it. But I think it allows acupuncturists when they are able to see the difference that their work, their passion is doing in this part of the world where it's really needed. I think it just affords them. I think it just reignites that fire somewhat, and that's what I hope. That's what I hope to see is the film.
Okay, and so, and how have general audiences responded to this? What are the questions that you're getting asked about it?
It's so great too, the way that the film that Andrew and I, when we had all the footage, we were trying to write the treatment and figure out how
How you're gonna put it together?
you're gonna present it, because the other thing is it's a film about acupuncture, and to the average person, I mean, all you think about is just sharp needles getting randomly poked in your body, and that's maybe not the most
Not-
pleasant thought.
Right.
So it's just we were thinking like, well, how can we present this in such a way? And we realized, well, we don't need to present it as anything other than what it is. I mean, just show it being done, and the people and the results will speak for themselves. And this really is. It wasn't necessarily a film about acupuncture. We didn't go into a lot of details explaining like, oh, this is the school of acupuncture. This is what they're doing here. It's just a modality. It's another form of treatment. You see these doctors doing their treatment. But what's really important is the fact that the doctors are there and listening, and just listening to the patients and hearing their stories and trying to figure out what is best for each individual patient. Instead of trying to throw a broad treatment on everybody, like, oh, okay, you take 2 of these a day, you'll be fine. They really get to know each patient individually and figure out, okay,
And that's what makes the treatment successful.
successful. But it's really, it's with acupuncture, it's not necessarily about the needles. It's about actually listening to your patient and being like, well, here's changes you could do in your diet. Here's changes you could do in your sleep schedule. Here's some exercises you can do. Like, it's really about that personalized treatment.
So, have you had fun, like a lot of fun making this film?
I would definitely, obviously being in Nepal was a blast. That was great. And then I gotta say, sitting in the editing room though, because it was about like 6 months of editing, and going through like 70 hours of footage. Like around month number 4, especially considering I was editing during the winter here in the Northwest, so it's like it's February and it's just really just dark and rainy all the time, and I'm just really bogged in my work. That was brutal. That was like that last couple months were really tough, but now here I am, I guess, 2 months later, and I guess it doesn't really.
And it's fun again.
It's fun again, yeah.
There you go.
So it's good.
How do people find out more about Compassion Connects and about your work?
Well, first of all, CompassionConnects.org. Great. That's the film's website, and you can request screenings, purchase DVDs, and also you can link to the Acupuncture Relief Project site and learn about their work. And I had a blog called Tristan Stock Videographer, which still has all my blog posts from when I was there filming.
Great.
So you can go back and learn sort of more about the filming process from that.
That's great. Thanks so much for joining us, and have a great time during your stay here in Port Townsend.
Yeah, thanks. It's good to be back.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.